What's up, guys? It's John. I know it's been a little while, but today we are taking a look at my reloading process for 50 Action Express cartridges. You know, I posted a video not too long ago about how my Desert Eagle throws these giant fire rings and how cool it was, and people were really interested in seeing how those cartridges get made, kind of, I guess, what makes them different. Now, while I don't do a ton of reloading, this actually isn't my first reloading video. I did one back in the day on 45 ACP when I first got started, and that actually got really well received. I was pretty happy about it. I just hadn't had the chance to get to do one since then. So tonight, like I said, we're taking a look at the 50 AE. If you have any questions, please ask. I'd be more than happy to try and help you as much as I can. This isn't going to get super involved because I just want to give a basic overview at this point. And if people really want to, I can get into it more as time goes on, and we can kind of do like a little series on it. So you guys let me know if you enjoy this, of course, let me know. And again, ask questions if you got them. Okay, so before we get started, you want to know what the components are, what tools I'm using, etc. We'll start it out with these Winchester large pistol primers. Now, these are good for standard or magnum loads. That doesn't apply across different brands. That's just with this particular kind right here. Short for that is going to be WLP. You'll see that listed in manuals and things like that. Next, I've got my RCBS Chargemaster 1500 combo. This is actually kind of like an auto dispense thing. It's got a scale on the bottom, and I can punch in numbers up top, and it'll dispense the amount until I tell it to stop. It's a really, really nice tool to have. It's fantastic. That is actually filled with this Winchester 296 ball powder. The 296 is very, very common in magnum loads such as 357, 44 Magnum, 50 AE, 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. It's used in the Beowulf. It's actually used in 300 Blackout subsonic loads as well, which is really cool. Next up, I've got some 50 AE brass, as you can see there. I did a whole batch that you can kind of see a little bit of in the back the other night, and I said, you know what, let me film this and show these guys since they've been asking so much about it. So we've got the brass, that's ready to go. Next up, we're going to need some bullets. These are 300 grain flat point. These are by a company called Barry's Manufacturing. They're actually specially designed for the 50 AE cartridge. They have a little bit of thicker plating on them, so it works in the rifling of that gun, and that's it for the components. So the next thing people need to know is what kind of press I'm using. This is a Lee Classic turret press. I'm also using Lee dies in here. I've got my little priming tool here, got a funnel in there because these magnum loads can't use the on press powder measure. It doesn't measure enough out, so I got to use the funnel and my RCBS that I showed you before, and that's pretty much it. I'll get into it a little more in a second here. Okay, we're going to do a little POV here. So first thing what I'll do is go ahead and punch in 33 grains, because that's the load we're using. Hit enter, and then dispense. And what that's going to do is that's going to constantly dispense it. Every time I put an empty little tray back on there, it's going to dispense another load. So while that's going, I'll take a fresh piece of brass, go ahead and align that, slide it into the shell holder there, rotate around to our resizing die. Just make sure it's sized up good. That is. I'll swing my primer tool over, put a primer into the cup, run it back down, prime it. You can see on the downstroke I primed it. I'll show you right there. You've got a primer in the bottom of the case. Okay, then we can rotate around. See, this gets in the way. It's kind of out of control there. Once that's locked in, go ahead and run that up in there. It will flare the case mouth a little bit. Take our powder charge, pour it into the case, tap it a couple times, make sure it all gets down in there, place that back on. That'll start dispensing our next charge. There you go. Run that down. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but there is 33 grains of powder in there. We'll go ahead, place our 300 grain bullet on the case, rotate around, run it up into the bullet seating die, and as that finishes, we've got a complete round of 50 Action Express. Alright, so slightly different angle there. Again, just got a new charge ready. We're going to go ahead and run this up into the die. There's our resizing decapping die. If there was a primer in there, it would knock that out down the tube. We'll go ahead and put a primer on our cup, run it down, go ahead and prime the case, rotate around to the powder through expanding die, run that up in there, pour our powder down in there, give it a couple taps. Static allows some of the powder to stick to the side of this, so I always give it a couple taps. We've now got a case that's full. Well, it's most of the way full with some Winchester 296. Spin it around, seat our 300 grain bullet, and biggity bam, there's another one. Alright guys, so these last few, we're going to go ahead and just power through and kind of show you how I get going. People love it when I sing. I actually can sing a little bit. Alright, there we go. One more. Down in there. Another one. For whatever reason, this priming tool here in the press doesn't want to seem to fall loose. I probably just need to clean it out a little bit. Now keep in mind guys, you want to be very safe with this. You want to pay attention. That's why I have the press I have. I'll get into that some other time. But this is not something you want to overdo or not pay attention to. That's why it's taken me so long, is I want to make sure that I do this properly and have it loaded safely so that I can show you guys a safe way to do it. There's our prime. Run it around, expand, and put some powder in. There we go. Rotate around one more time, put a bullet in, and seat it. Now, something you should get into the habit of while doing this is every so often, you know, your dies can move a little bit. They can get out of spec, so just pull one of these open. Go ahead and measure it. I know my safe range is about 1.575. I'm at 1.574 on the calipers, so I'm good to go. That's going to feed well. And there you have it. So again, guys, go ahead and double check. You know, measure when you can. Caliper is a great tool to have. A caliper will allow you to check so many different specs on this brass, and you need to make sure it's in spec so it'll work in the gun properly. Okay, as you can see, this kind of wiggles and wobbles together. I know it's not perfect, but it works for me right now. There we go, there's another case. I thought we were going to be out of primers, but maybe this might be it. Size it. Charge is done. We are out of primers. Alright guys, so since we're down to our last few rounds, let's see if we can bang them out quickly. Rotate that around. The camera battery is dying. Oh no! Will he make it in time? Powder through expander. Bullet. Bullet seating die. Seat the bullet. Give it a tiny little crimp. Another round. One more round. Spin it. Resize it. Primer. Oh no! Prime it. Make sure this is down properly. Powder through expand. Put the powder through. Run it down. Bullet. Seat the bullet. Slight crimp. And our last round. Here we go, guys. Last one for this mini reloading session. Resize it. Manually, since I'm out of the ones in the tool, put a primer in. Go ahead and prime the case. Rotate that around. Expand it. Pour that stuff in. Get a bullet. Put the bullet in the case. Spin that around one last time. And there you have it, guys. 15 rounds of 50 Action Express. If you have any questions, guys, please ask below. If you want to see more of this, again, let me know. And as always, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. And of course, if you want, subscribe. It's free, and you get to come back and check out stuff like this. Thanks for watching, guys. See you.